Hello, world, people, person, whoever's watching. This is my first video with Castaway Cube. Well, my first video ever, really. So I'm still really getting used to recording myself and talking while doing anything. It's pretty nerve-wracking. Either way, I am using Infinzia's setup here so you can see his texture, and he also has a shader down here. I have been using Blender for about a year now, and I started using Godot about 2 or 3 months ago, as far as actually diving in and trying to get things working in there. So I did not come from an art or a coding background, so everything that I'm learning from the worst case scenario, right? I thought that everybody would like to see some of the stuff I've learned about the workflow between Blender and Godot, and also just modeling and tricks in Blender. If you guys are interested in this, by all means, let me know what kind of things you would like to learn or what kind of tricks you'd like to see. I'm pretty versatile in my skill set already. The first thing I thought I'd show you guys is something that I was just one day clicking on random buttons, and I found a happy little thing called Poke Faces. And I use this quite a bit now. It's awesome. So you could do so what it does is it takes a face, puts a vertice right in the center, and chops up the pie. And so with this, you could do like I and then I again for individual to get an individual inset. And I just hit 0.11, and now we have this setup. From here, we could Alt E to extrude along normals and scoot it in just a little bit. And then because we're using this setup, we could just grab everything and shove it down in this dark brown down here. Everything we have selected. And we'll say for the inside, right there. No, we'll go right there. That's a good inside brown. That's a little dark. We'll put it right about there. Maybe there. And yeah, that looks pretty good. And then we'll grab everything else, which, where is everything else? There. These buttons got me again. When you hit W, you change what type of cursor you have. I almost always work in one type of cursor, so it always throws me off when it's not already there. So we'll throw the outside there, and just like that. Quickest storage crate you can build. And you could always add a lot more details to make it look nice. Level of detail, I mean, it depends on your use case, right? So if you're if you're viewing it in game right next to the camera, you want it pretty detailed. If it's very far away, you might get away with that. I mean, it just depends on what you're doing. Either way, I'd probably still add more detail to that, whether you cut into it or do something else. Another thing we can do straight from a cube is we can make another one, go to edit mode, all poke the faces, and then we're going to do the same thing, I.11. That's just a random number I chose one day. And we'll delete the faces this time. And now that the faces are gone, we select it all, then Alt-T, extrude along normals, and just a little bit. And now we would need to scroll down here and give it the material. There's only one material in here, so. Now we go into UV editing and we select it all. And for this to work, you will always want to scale to 0. There are a lot of trade-offs that come with using this technique. Mostly, you don't get a lot in the way of texturing. So you'd have to mix this with something else sometimes to get good worlds, or just really hammer out details. This method does rely a lot more on modeling than it does anything else. But just like that, we got us one of those little metal, whatever you want to call those, you see around like buildings or half-constructed spaceships or something. And those are just that easy to make. And there is another instance I use poke faces quite a bit. So we will add a cylinder and make us a boot. And with our cylinder, we'll say we want 9, just because it's going to give us a face in the front. Don't think I'd ever use a leg that has 9. I'm a big fan of even numbers. Here, we could say we want it to be, I don't know, 4 inches thick. And we can actually type inches, and it will convert it to meters. Isn't that great? I know Europeans don't care about it, but Americans, we love that. So let's scale it to, I don't know, there. Just kind of wing it at the moment because I'm not going to keep this here boot. And we'll put it right about there. And now that we have that, we could add some loop cuts. Probably 3. And then we'll go ahead and hit 1 on the numpad to get a face front look at it. And we'll go ahead and kind of make a little bit of leg shape. The calf muzzle usually pops out to the side there a little bit. And we will grab this and hit GG and slide it down to about, I don't know, there. So this will be a boot that goes up to your calf muscle. I don't know. And we'll grab these 3 faces. And this time we'll hit GY to EY, not GY. And we'll S to Z to scale on the Z axis. Kind of give it a little narrow foot there. And we want to hit 3 so we get a direct side view so we know if it's going to be flat with the ground. At this point, with feet, especially low poly feet, but feet in general, you always want to blow the bottom of the foot right off of there, because that topology is the worst. And I don't think it's possible to make it better. So we'll grab this whole band. We have to hit, I did Alt Shift on that, and you know, Alt and then Alt Shift because we needed to grab the whole thing a little bit. Let's scoot that down to there, and then we'll add 2 loop cuts to kind of give some shape to the foot. Loop cuts are Control R if you've never used Blender before. And we have a bone like right here, so it's kind of like right where these vertices meet. So we'll just scoot that up with GG just a little bit to kind of give it a little bit of a tell on that. And then I don't know if that's the right thing to do. Honestly, with low poly stuff, you're going to be farther away from the camera on average. So it probably won't make a whole lot of difference. And then you have a lot of things you can do with boots. So I'm just going to make a boot look like that for now. And now it's time to see if we grid fill down here. So face, grid fill, no dice. It's because I have an odd number of vertices it doesn't know what to do. So what we'll do is just fill it in manually. Oh. Sometimes you don't grab what you want to grab. And we'll have a triangle at the very end of it. It's not the end of the world. Whenever you export something from Blender, it triangulates everything anyways. And there are cases, especially with low poly modeling, where triangles will look better and deform better than quads. It's not every case, it's just once in a while. If you'd like examples of that, let me know and I will show you some examples. So up here we'll make a little cup for the boot, so ES, and we'll say about there is good. Oh, and we'll grab this whole thing and scoot it just a little bit down. Next we will take this line, yeah, this good spot, why not? We hit V to rip, And the direction you move the mouse immediately after changes how it behaves a little bit, so just be wary of how you move your mouse immediately after hitting V to get the desired result. And lucky us, we have Control Z if you do it wrong. I've done it wrong so many times. And now we'll grab these two and kind of drag them down just a little bit further to really sell that it's got a little slit. Ooh, that needs to come forward a little bit too. Yeah, right about there. Good enough. All right, now, while I'm thinking about it, let's go ahead and add the material to this thing because we don't want to deal with it not having the material. Now we go into UV editing and all S0. And let's go ahead and just move these to boot color, which is also in the dark brown range. So we'll say about right there. There we go. Nice boot color. Now, for the laces I was talking about, the first thing we want to do is add another loop cut because you want these to be kind of, probably 2 loop cuts. You want the spacing on your quads to be kind of equal when you're making laces for things. We'll say the lace goes up to there. So face, poke faces. And then we do the same thing. We hit I for inset. And because we're already on individual, we'll say right about there is a good lace size. Now we can go and grab these laces. And this is, you know, just some nice way of doing it without really struggling. And you could like elevate them to really make them pop out and everything. There's always more detail you can add around everything. And we'll say the lace up here does that. You can add like another 3D bow tie if you want to model one. And we'll say our laces are dark green. And there you have it. Boot with laces. So I hope you guys like this, and I haven't decided if I'm going to focus heavier on modeling or the Godot to Blender to Godot workflow or anything game dev related. That's kind of the direction I've been working on. I'm building a game for a while. I just really want to do it, and I thought that I would just start sharing some tips and tricks and maybe share some obscure knowledge I picked up along the way. If you guys liked it, like and subscribe and all that YouTuber stuff. Not too used to that type of comments yet, but cool. And have a good one, guys.